Southern Alps motorcycle ride. This is the 3-day ride I did about a week ago with a couple of mates. Great ride, 3-day around the Southern Alps of the South Island. And this is just a bit of a map of the loop we did. All in all, it actually was about 1,200 Ks over 3 days. First day was Christchurch over Arthur's Pass and to FRANZ, then FRANZ to TEKAPO via Wanaka. Then day 3, TEKAPO to Christchurch. So let's focus on day 1, Christchurch to Franz Joseph. So this is the bikes. We all met up at a cafe outside of Christchurch. A few nice classic bikes, some good sports tourers, and some Ducatis, and some Ducatis with some pretty cool engines as well. So I'll put a bit in the description about the bikes and all that, but this one's got a nice paint job that a mate of ours has done, and here's my bike here, the old trusty Beamer. So, set off across the plains. It's a long way across the plains to get to the Alps. Well, actually only about 60 Ks. Takes about 40 to 50 minutes to get there. So, pretty much straight roads all the way there. So, we pulled over here because Alastair, who's riding I think it's a Honda Bros, an old 80s bike, V-twin 650. He had to fill up every now and then, so we just stopped for him, let him fill up with some gas, and this is us all just pulling away. So this is a little settlement called Springfield, like in The Simpsons. Actually has a donut, because when the Simpsons film was released, they had a donut as an icon of the little town. So this is riding up, heading towards Arthur's, going up the Porter's Pass. A lot of SUVs out. It was Waitangi Day, which is a national day, bank holiday here in New Zealand, so the SUV brigade is out. But this little road here, a couple of years ago I went on a scooter safari, and a whole lot of 50cc scooters did this trip that we're doing on the first day, and this is actually quite a steep road, which obviously doesn't show in the video so well, but I ended up pushing a few scooters up with my little Vespa, being a 200cc. Just another nice little corner here. Shame the cars are in the way, but the road was nice and clear, so it was quite safe to overtake as well. So a bit of snow in the hills, which is strange because it's the middle of summer here, but these are pretty high mountains here. I think these particular mountains are probably about 1,000 metres above sea level, and we had quite a cold southerly go through the night before, so a nice little dusting of snow on the mountains, which makes it really good for this film. So yeah, this is quite a big film. I wanted to capture a lot of the best scenes of the South Island. It's one of the most beautiful countries New Zealand is, that I've been to or visited, and a lot of motorcyclists that have toured have actually highly recommend New Zealand, particularly the South Island, as one of the best motorcycling areas in the world. Beautiful scenery, safe roads to a certain degree. There's the odd pothole and so forth, and but stunning, and the scenery changes within kilometres, as you'll see over this video, through the 3 days that we travelled. So from this sort of alpine area to further on to day 2 with a right sort of very deep forest, and then plains and so forth, and heading towards TEKAPO. So here, just pulled over just to let the guys go past. I kind of lost them a bit behind me. So one thing I noticed on this ride is New Zealand has a lot of single lane bridges. In fact, I'd love to know how many kilometres of single lane bridges there are, because I probably reckon that outnumbers the kilometres of motorways here in New Zealand. Low population, only 4.5 mil. Here on the left are the Castle Hill boulders. Not sure on the official title, but it was used in Lord of the Rings. Really beautiful sort of boulders that are sticking out or protruding out of the ground and so forth. So it's very much a film setting. Here on the right, there's an SUV that was parked and pulled out right in front of us. He was kind of parked on the wrong side of the road, and kind kind of caused a near accident. It's a problem if you've got a lot of sightseeing tourists everywhere. They don't really look on the road, but they look everywhere else. So here we're coming to Castle Hill Village. It's a little sort of alpine villagey area and a few ski slopes for during the winter. But it makes a nice little bit of scenery. And this is David in front of me. He's riding a Ducati Monster. Can't remember the exact model number, but I think it's the engine from the 911 that they put into the Ducati Monster frame. So quite a unique bike. In fact, it was probably the most powerful bike on the ride, but David is probably the safest rider and often was at the back of the pack. But yeah, so it's a beautiful bike. Love it to bits. And he's done an awesome paint job on it as well. Bit more of the road towards TEKAPO. Beautiful rolling bends and just stunning scenery every corner you go around. In fact, the whole trip, there wasn't an ounce of bad scenery, it was all good scenery. So here on the right there was a bushfire towards Alps Pass about a week before this ride, and had scarred quite a lot of the landscape here. A lot of it has been burnt. In fact, we've had a lot of forest fires and bushfires here in Canterbury in the last couple of weeks with not much rain, but fortunately there's a bit of rain before this ride, so it sort of wetted the vegetation a bit. But here you can see a bit more of that charring from the fire. More stunning scenery. I just love this country. I mean, I've never really motorcycled overseas, but I don't feel I need to. It's all here on our doorstep, so I feel really quite lucky. And the Beamer did quite well on this trip. I had a bit of an oil leak and was a bit worried about it, so I carried a litre of spare oil, but ended up not needing to use it. A lot of motorcyclists on the roads too. Getting closer to TEKAPO here. So we've all kind of met each other over the years. I've known Neil and his dad for a long time. Neil, who I met through the Vespa club that I originally joined in Christchurch about 9 years ago, and we sort of gradually moved up to bigger bikes. His dad's been a motorcyclist for a long time. And Grant, who I've also met through the YouTube channels and stuff. He's got his own channel. I'll put a link there. Yes, another single lane bridge. So the alpine sort of area runs along, like the ridge sort of runs from the north to the south of the South Island. So there's a lot of mountainous areas and very few mountain passes from one side to the other. So you do have to travel quite a distance to get to your destination, which you'll see on day 2 from FRANZ Joseph to TEKAPO, which is probably only about 70 k's as the crow flies, but yet we had to ride 550 k's to get there. Now this is coming into Alps Pass. It's a little settlement, quite high up. It's got the sort of main train line runs through this town, and a lot of sightseers and tourists and campers and trampers. So a lot of outdoor activities have taken part here. But also there's the Kia, which is the mountain parrot here in New Zealand, which apparently is one of the most intelligent birds. Sort of bombs this town because all the tourists seem to feed it. So we'll see one when we pull up and get some fuel. So just pulling up as Alastair just needed to get a bit more gas on his little Honda Bros. In fact, I think Suresh was getting some gas as well on his Kawasaki W800.
Topping up?
No, I'll be alright. Who else is filling up? Are you filling up? No. Just these two, I think.
Okay, man, you keep going like that.
I know.
I don't mind.
Yeah, I'll do that.
That's a motor.
Oh, cheers.
Bloody nice one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a newer one. So it's a 91, but you know, bit of the old school.
Good old guy.
Yeah.
Genuine 57,000.
That is genuine, yeah.
What do you want for it?
Double secure.
91. Well, what you normally use?
That should be right, eh?
Here's one of the Kias.
So just a little bit
As you can see, they sort of pest all the tourists for food and get fed, yeah. So this is just going over the pass, the top of the pass, and I pull over. I go ahead of the other guys. There's a viaduct or a road viaduct that's the most stunning scenery. So I kind of wanted to go ahead and film the rest of the gang kind of going down it. But the problem was where I parked the motorbike, there was more Kias. And the Kias like black plastic and rubber around window screens on cars and anything black and chewy. So I was kind of worried about my bike. And one of the people in the car park, one of the chaps there, said that they actually are renowned for getting keys out of ignitions and flying off with them. So I got a bit paranoid, as you'll see in a bit. But this is just more stunning scenery. It's just absolutely breathtaking. And actually the quality of the road was really good as well. So this is looking up to where I came from, and just a little Kia on the ground. Had two more, and then another one popped along as well. So this is where the little buggers started attacking my tyre. So this is, I think it's Grant and a few of the others, Neil, David, Suresh and Alastair, heading down the viaduct. So I had a bit of catching up to do to catch up with them, but that was fun. But most amazing scenery. So this is me going down that viaduct you just saw in that little clip there. When you're driving on it, you don't actually feel like you're on a viaduct or a bridge of any sort, being low down. But it's stunning, but it's very steep at the same time. So the good thing about the Beamer is being a parallel twin, it's got a lot of good engine braking. Don't actually use the brakes too often, but it's only a single disc brake at the front. But it's just fantastic, you know, just changing down those gears and all sorts. So here's a bit of a water feature over the road, and then like an avalanche kind of chamber, but also very steep here. It's unfortunate the roads were quite busy today, being the bank holiday, but that's alright. This is a rare 2-lane bridge, and back to a single-lane bridge. So I'm not too sure on the term, but this water here is flowing to the other side of the South Island. It's where probably about a K back behind me, the water's flowing down the mountain the other side, so it will go on, flow out the east side of the South Island. There's a term for that, but you know, if someone wants to comment, that'd be great. I can never remember what that term is. So here the scenery is starting to change a little bit. With the vegetation, as the lower we get, less of the alpine kind of stuff. A few more cars to overtake. And this road kind of follows a railway all along for a while. Unfortunately didn't see any trains, but I did see a little maintenance vehicle. Caught up with the guys again after a few twisties. So our mission was to catch up with a workmate of mine in Hokitika, Robert, and he has a nice little yellow Ducati, so we kind of sussed out a time to meet with him, but we're running a bit late. So this is now the west coast of New Zealand, So we're on the other side of the South Island, heading towards Hokitika, which is a small little town. Not too sure on the population, but it's quite a fun place to stay. A few things to do, a few forest walks, and they've got a treetop walkway near there as well, which is really cool. Their little rat vehicle went past, rat rod. There's quite a few of those in New Zealand. Quite a big custom car scene here, as well as the bike scene as well. So I let them pass because I just wanted to see what was happening in my rear mirrors and wanted them to overtake. So here we are, Grant and myself heading into Hokitika with a few behind us. And here's a few scenes of that rat rod again. Looks like a small V8 block, but a really nice job. A number plate too. I actually dropped my bike here in Hokitika. I was pretty exhausted, and when I pulled up to the cafe where we had our lunch, I was saying hi to my workmate with his Ducati, and dropped the Beamer, but luckily it had crash bars and there was no damage to the bike, but it was all a bit freaky, especially when we were a bit fatigued and so forth. So as you can see, those crash bars there next to my pistons, they kind of saved the day. So that's Robert's Ducati just coming up after Suresh's Kawasaki. Quite a nice Ducati. So we had 3 Ducatis on this part of the ride. Neil's Ducati and Neil's dad David Ducati, and Alastair's Honda. So we made it to FRANZ. Beautiful sunset. It's a beautiful little town. They've got a glacier walk, which we didn't go and do because it's a bit too far. So it's a bit of a touristy town, but worth stopping at. And we stayed in a little holiday camp and shared a little cabin for the night, and had a few drinks and settled down after an exhausting ride. So day 2, FRANZ to TEKAPO. Take some shots of the bikes before the big ride. This was a big ride, about 550 k's, or if not more.
Yeah.
Pretty much most of the day riding. It's where the first day was around about 350. And a big ride for some of the members, where this was their first big ride, let alone doing 3 days in a row. And for myself, it's been a long time, so rider fatigue was starting to kick in by now.
Photos of our bikes.
I know.
I should have brought my camera. Well, my camera.
So all the bikes lined up, ready to go. So this is a map of the ride. As you can see, as the crow flies, at the top is Franz Josef, and then you got TEKAPO down the bottom, but we go all the way around because that's the only way to get there. So pretty much that mountain range you can see in front of here, if you head over those mountains, probably about 70 or 80 k's, you'll be in TEKAPO, but there's just no road or any way of getting across. So the only way was by road, and more stunning scenery of New Zealand. Unfortunately, David, our slowest and most cautious rider, who had the fastest bike, and we all wanted to ride it, got a speeding ticket the day before, got left behind in the pack. So wasn't a great start to the ride for him. And then with me dropping my bike, we hoped that was all the doom and the gloom for the ride, and it turned out that was all the dramas. So that was good in a way, but sad about the speeding ticket. Quite a lot of cops on the roads as well. So another single lane bridge, stunning scenery. This part of the ride I've never done before, so it was all new scenery for myself. So it was hard to keep an eye on the road and kind of just be amazed by how beautiful this country really is. And there's no postcard, no picture, no video that can do it justice. I think if you haven't done it, you've got to do it yourself. And the roads were quite good condition. We were worried about loose gravel, There were reports from another mate of ours who's done this ride a couple of weeks ago. He said there was some loose gravel parts, but it turned out to be okay and hardly any potholes on the road. In fact, Christchurch's roads where I live are far worse than the roads here, and that's within a city. So it made nice, safe riding. It was just keeping focus on the ride as well as the scenery. It was quite a challenge. But good to document it all in this video so I can absorb it later. So this is Suresh on his Kawasaki W800. Beautiful bike. Somehow he just kept it immaculate the whole ride, as where our bikes got flies and dirt and all that. His bike just kept glistening. Must have used some sort of radioactive polish on it or something that kept dirt away or repelling the dirt. But it's a beautiful bike, and you know, he's taken some great care over that bike since he bought it new. This part of the ride, I noticed there's a lot of rental cars, because most of the people that use this road are tourists with camper vans or hire cars or tourist buses, and quite a lot of cyclists as well, where they get shipped out here by plane to these parts or by minivan, and then spend the day cycling to one point, to one destination to another. So there's not many houses along here. There was no cell phone reception for hours and hours, in fact. Even in little settlements there was no cell phone reception. So this is Fox Glacier, Fox, another town I've never been to, obviously going south of where I've sort of as far as I've gone before. So we all pulled up here and sort of regroup.
That was good. That was awesome.
We're going to do it again like that.
Yeah.
More single lane bridges, but just amazing views. In fact, I'd love to come back here and spend some time and do some walks and sort of go off the beaten track a bit. So yeah, as I was saying before, not many houses at all, or farmland, because it's just all forest, native forest. In fact, I think it's a World Heritage Park site, or whatever the word is, so it's all protected, it's all native trees, and quite a lot of wildlife as well. In fact, a lot of roadkill on the road, like possums and stuff. In fact, they've got some wallabies from Australia that were introduced here a bit further along, and saw a couple of wallabies on the road, which I hadn't realised we had here. So we're coming towards Haast, which is probably the most southern point on the west coast that you can easily get to by road. There's Port Jackson as well, but that was a bit further and didn't kind of loop us back to Wanaka. But before we got there, we came to Bruce Bay, which was just breathtaking. But you don't want to stay there too long, because apparently it was the world capital of sandflies or something like that. In fact, you'll probably see a few in the video coming up in the next shot. Good old suspension bridge. So this is coming into Bruce Bay, another place where we all grouped and go for a piss. It's about 2 hours of riding so far at this stage as well. Of course, we had to take pictures of our bikes as well, didn't we? But you can see that plants there, just it must be some wild weather here, the way the trees are all windswept. But just stunning. No hotels, no anything, just nature. So we're just travelling a bit more south to get to Haast. Some of these roads get closed at a certain time at night because the dangers of people getting stranded. So there's certain times, you know, where the roads are open and closed, just because of the remote kind of position that this part of New Zealand is in. So this is the last bridge before Haast, and it was actually my first fueling up of the day, because I didn't know how far it was to the next petrol station. The Beamer was doing quite well actually. I think it can do about 400 k's max till dry, but I didn't want to quite risk it. I kind of got a 22 litre tank and 16 litres it hits the reserve, and I think I've got an extra 6 litres, but I've never gone further than 16 litres, so that kind of gets me about 270 k's roughly. So that was Haast. Now this was probably one of the most spectacular parts of the day. It's the gates of Haast and going up the river, more bikes coming towards us. And just breathtaking. I mean, these were really steep mountains all surrounding us, and it just felt really odd. I mean, here in New Zealand we don't have huge cities with big skyscrapers apart from Auckland, but we certainly have huge natural beautiful areas with huge mountains that kind of give you that kind of feeling of insignificant kind of thing. So here's some bikes passing from the crew. Suresh, David, Neil, Alastair and Grant. And then I had some catching up to do. So yeah, this bit here is coming towards the gates of Haast. And it's just more stunning scenery, just absolutely breathtaking. And yet another single lane bridge. If any of these bridges fail or there's been landslides, they often close this road, and it's a good to go the other way. If you want to get to the other side, you probably have to travel about 12 hours to do an alternative route. So I guess for those people who do live here, not that there's many people, these roads are quite crucial to keep open. In fact, this part here did have a landslide and 2 people lost their lives recently, a couple of years ago. So there's a lot of money spent maintaining this road. And this is a quick lunch stop we did, where a few planes land, because the sort of landing strip's meters away from the road. And a few other bikes we saw. In fact, a hell of a lot of bikers on the road during this trip, being a long weekend. And this is the little airstrip. Some American tourists who are doing a cycling holiday came in by plane
Came the other way.
just to do some cycling around here. In fact, 3 planes full of cyclists came. And I guess just because of the remoteness of this area. There's some bikers just leaving. Not part of our gang, but another gang. So yeah, New Zealand it looks a small country on the map, but it takes a long time to get to different places because we don't have motorways or super fast railways. So a lot of people travel by plane, if it's by Cessna or by commuter plane or whatever. It's the quickest way to get around, especially with the 2 islands being separated by a bit of a sea, or the Cook Strait. Suresh and Grant.
Enjoying it? Yeah. Beautiful. No, your dad's just taking photos back there.
So I think this is the sort of west end of Lake Wanaka, this part here. And you can see the colour of the lake is quite unique. A lot of the glacier kind of blue. So the glaciers feed these waterways. And in fact, a bit later when you see TEKAPO, it just blows your mind. The colour of the water just looks very unreal, but these cameras aren't lying about the colours, it's the actual colour of the water. It's just amazing. So this is us heading towards Wanaka Township. By this stage we're all feeling the fatigue and we're only about halfway to TEKAPO, so we needed a good sort of a lunch stop and a bit of a beer just to refresh again. As you can see, Grant's taken a lot of bags. He had to take my luggage, as you saw earlier on. I had a little dry bag and it was just falling off the back of my bike all the time, so he's got a nice luggage rack that held it for me. So cheers, Grant. And this is the beach front of Lake Wanaka. And this is where we had lunch. Quite a few little restaurants. A lot of money is coming to the little township. Quite a large destination for Kiwis to have their holidays. So this is our way heading to TEKAPO, our final destination of the day and our sleep. Some more river crossings. And the landscape's changing. A bit more open. Less vegetation. In fact, we're actually going higher in altitude here, I think. Now, this is either the Linders or the Lewis Pass. I always get them confused. It's one of the two, but it's the one between Wanaka and TEKAPO, and that's just Grant going zooming past, and I think his dad passes there too. This road I have done before, did it on my Vespa with the scooter club years ago, which was quite fun. I haven't done it for a while, but just very barren landscapes, almost lunar sort of landscapes. But also at this stage it was actually about 34 degrees, which was quite hot, and I had all my wet weather gear on and I was just sweating like a pig inside it. Didn't really want to stop and take it all off, but just keep moving, get the airflow. So this is just going over the pass, catching up with David on his Ducati Monster. But as you can see, this scenery is completely transformed from what we saw probably about 5 minutes ago on this video. Mackenzie country, heading towards Twizel. A lot of this area they've dammed and got a lot of hydro lakes, and this is just going over one of the dams, and they've got a little power station nearby. But you can see the colour of the water. It's just amazing. It's because it's all fed by glaciers. It's got a lot of the stone, the ground stone in it. I think it kind of causes that blue kind of sort of tinge to it. Here's a police car pulled over a chap. In fact, it's a guy with a camera. I think this is for one of the New Zealand programs, Police 10-7, and they were just videoing the guy for the TV program who they pulled over. So that might appear on an episode soon. And here we're heading past the turn off to Mount Cook, which is the largest mountain in New Zealand. In fact, this lake here is fed from that mountain, so more of that kind of stunning blue coloured water. In fact, it's amazing seeing it on Google Maps when you put the satellite view, just the colours of these lakes. But the camera is not lying whatsoever. It's just like that. So that was Neil and his dad passing. Neil and his dad David, and that's Mount Cook in the distance. Not too far from TEKAPO, thank God, because we were just shattered at this stage. Rider fatigue really had kicked in. It's no means my personal best for one day. I mean, this was about 550 k's. I've done 800 k's before on a little Vespa. That was really painful. But yeah, I think with the heat and with the constant twisty roads, a lot of concentration and just taking in all the scenery. Plus, this was the second day riding. It was getting quite tiring. But there's a term that we talked about later on this evening is about being rider fit, and you know, you build yourself up to these sort of rides, so your fatigue level is a lot higher or a lot lower, and you know, but it is crucial that you don't push yourself too hard on these sort of rides, especially when you're in a group with other people, and just tell the other people that you need to take a break because it can be quite dangerous. But also, you want to keep pressing on because you don't want to get to your destination too late. So, yeah. That's Neil on his Ducati just overtaking. So in the distance is TEKAPO. There's a mountain called Mount John, and there's little observatories there. The local university uses it as a place to study the southern hemisphere sort of stars. In fact, a lot of people from overseas, there it is, the little mound there on the left. This is a light reserve, as in there's not much light pollution whatsoever. So it's great for stargazing. This is Suresh and his Kawasaki, looking sparkly and clean. Still don't know how he does it. And that's our little lodge that we stayed in for the night. TEKAPO. Just settling down for the evening. And then this is just our meal. Great time. Day 3, TEKAPO to Christchurch. So this is the map of the ride. So you can see it's quite bendy and then gets quite straight when it goes over the plains. Start-up material, coffee in the morning, pretty handy. So Neil, what was the best bit about the trip?
Probably the best bit of the trip was when Alastair stopped snoring. Best part of the trip I think was from Franz to past.
Oh yeah.
You know, some stages it looked like we were actually higher than the mountains with the snow on them.
Yeah. Oh cool.
Yeah, really good. Good riding.
What was the best bit about the trip, David?
Just the company and just a drive, coming out of the bush and finding us facing the beach.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic ride.
Cool.
It was seeing how this pass for the first time.
Yeah.
And yeah, having you guys to do it with.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I'll be able to do it on my own.
Yeah. No, you did really well.
Thanks.
Yeah, good stuff.
Best part of the trip for me was the gates are passed, the people that I've met, and in general just the roads, and when Alastair stopped snoring.
I guess the favourite part of the trip was the company, I have to say, but coming through the house, through the trees, the green, and then the fantastic contrast between the west coast and the central Otago. Yeah, it's been a great day. And good accommodation.
So best part of the trip for me was probably when I was really knackered coming into TEKAPO, and there's 3 of us, I think we were just sort of riding in unison, and just the planes, and felt like little fighter bombers going on for a little bombing raid over the English Channel. So that was my favourite bit. So yeah, that was just a quick interview of all the chaps on the trip, and just pulling out of the TEKAPO campsite where we stayed the night. We decided to head to Furley for breakfast, have a big feed, which was probably about a 40-minute ride away. But first we just stopped and looked at the scenes and the sights of TEKAPO. And here's the little chapel. It's probably the most famous scene of Lake TEKAPO is a little chapel, and a lot of tourists take the photos. In fact, a lot of weddings here as well, just with the stunning backdrop of Lake TEKAPO and so forth. And then there's a little statue of a sheepdog. Can't quite remember the story behind that. And then the bikes passing me, or me passing the bikes passing me. Alastair, Grant, who else is there? Let them all go past. Suresh, Alastair, and Neil. That was us. I think 6. That must be right. Haven't left anyone behind. Last scenes of that beautiful lake. And Mount Musgrove in front as well, which is a family name of mine. Well, and some expensive real estate on the right there. It's Neil's Ducati. Alastair's Honda. Suresh's Kawasaki. Yeah, the Beamer pulls away quite nicely. It's got a lot of torque. It's not very powerful, but overtaking it seems to do quite well. In fact, you're up to 160 in no time if you don't watch the speedo. So, but for an old bike, I'm quite pleased with it and kind of plan to keep it for a few years and try and keep it in its mint condition. Because a lot of the airheads have been turned into cafe races, which I do like, but I think if it's in good condition like mine, I just want to keep it mint as much as possible. There's not many mint bikes out there of this age. So again, the scenery is changing. It's becoming more green, more agricultural, kind of going down in altitude. And here we find some breakfast soon because we're starving. It's not too far from TEKAPO to Christchurch. I think it's about 3 to 4 hours. Easily do it on a tank of gas, so it was quite good knowing that I don't have to stop for gas. But we did stop quite a bit just to refresh. And this is where we have breakfast. Rural town, tractors galore. And had a feed and back on the road again. This bit of road here coming out of Furley is beautiful. Lots of little twisties over a little hill and just stunning panoramic kind of views all around, yet more distractions for the rider. Kind of lost everyone behind me at this stage. So, pull over and wait to see if I've lost everyone. But again, I don't think the GoPro captures the beauty of this view. It was just stunning. And also in the winter, this is all very green. I mean, at this time of the year, it's the middle of summer, a lot of dry grass, which is a huge fire hazard. But you come here about 4 months later, and it's just green pastures everywhere, heading into autumn. So it's funny because when I packed for this ride, I think I packed more tools, breakdown material than items of clothing, because I was a bit paranoid, you know, the bike being over 20 years old and not much technology involved, and I wasn't sure how reliable it was going to be, but I was just amazed. I had no problems whatsoever. I had my zip ties, gaffer tape, the whole BMW toolkit that comes with the bikes originally, had that all packed, Leatherman, a litre of oil, but yeah, nothing needed. Just really impressed with the bike and its reliability. And the fuel usage wasn't too bad. I mean, I was averaging probably about 5.8 litres for every 100 Ks, which is pretty damn good, because consider when I'm in the city it's using close to 7 litres per 100 Ks. So for a long ride, the bike is bloody awesome. And the other thing is, I love the crash bars, because if you're on a straight and you need to rest, you stick your legs on the crash bars, and not quite a cruiser, because I can't stand cruisers, but it's got that kind of comfy element to it as well. Plus your feet keep nice and warm, but not too hot with the engine down. So a couple of guys passing me. Sort of the land's flattening out a bit, but still a few hills. And then we come into a little township called Geraldine, where I do a bit of a bike swap with Grant's VF R80s. Alright guys, where's Alastair? Oh, there. Fueling again. So this is the VF R80s. It's a mate of mine. He's also got a YouTube channel, and it's a 2001 800cc. Let's give it a go. Okay. Nice. There goes my bike. Speeding away. Yeah, lovely sound to the V4. It was a bike I was actually considering buying a couple of years ago, but didn't have the money, but luckily found my Beamer. So yeah, I quite liked the bike. It was fast. I could see it growing on me pretty quick as a sports tourer, but I'm so used to the upright position that the BMW has that I found it actually quite uncomfortable in that sort of semi-sports position. But yeah, it could grow on me, this bike. Oop, stalled. I think I had it stuck in second at this stage. Sorry, Grant. But yeah, immense power, a lot more power than my Beamer. But I think I had problems trying to find first gear. I mean, there's always that little kind of trick. You have to put it into gear and then drop it down through neutral to first. So I hadn't quite sussed it out. In fact, later on, it stalled and I couldn't work out how to start the bloody thing, as you'll see here in this video. Oh, that's good. Cool. Oh, you're cool? Hey? Go a bit more.
Well, I think we've missed the turn off.
Pardon?
I think we've missed the turn off.
Oh, okay.
Because it's not obvious. Everything says Ashburn and nothing says the tyre.
Oh, okay.
I think it's back there, so we'll just keep going this way.
Keep going that way. Cool. This is where I had problems with getting this bike started and everyone left me behind. It's the kill switch. I just hadn't reset it. Got there in the end though. V4 power. Yeah, just didn't quite master that first gear, so took me a while. So here's the straight roads of the Canterbury Plains. They get really boring. Now this is pulling into Parker, I think it is. This is where we all say goodbye to one another and got back on our own bikes again. Almost the end of the road. Oh, nice charger.
Alright, Suresh, I might give you a yell.
See you, Suresh. time to head back home. So, yep, here I'm probably about 40 minutes away from home, so it's kind of good to see the family again, but I spent most of the evening editing this video and the next day as well. I think I almost spent more time editing this video than the whole 3 days riding. So this is just speeding over one of the longest bridges on this ride. And in this next video here I see another YouTuber, PT I think his name is. He is someone who chat with quite a bit, and I'll put a link to his channel as well. And this is him on his BMW, I think it's an R80, but it's got some cruiser handlebars on it. So hi to you. Don't know if you recognised me when I went past, but I recognise your bike. And the last kind of moments of my GoPro's battery, managed to get to the Christchurch sign. So the full loop. Need a piss. So yep, that's the end of this video. It's been a long one, but probably one of the nicest rides I've ever done, and I hope you really enjoyed it. And at the end of the ride, you can see the bugs on the front of my bike and on my helmet. But you know, if you like this, subscribe, like, comment. I really appreciate that, and I'll see you next time with a shorter video. Cheers.